There's no positive energy for the Lions coming out of South Africa right now. Alun Jones is geriatric. He's, you might as well be on a Zimmer frame as far as they're concerned. And this is a 3-0 series win.
Mate, I saw, I think they called him a plotter. I was like, oh my God, that is just going to be bandied around the changing room for sure. Like, that was just ruthless, when the squad was named. Like, coming out of the SA media, I just couldn't believe it. I was literally gobsmacked at how ruthless they were. Like, I thought it was quite a strong squad. There was a bit of fresh talent in there. Yeah, there was some experience, but I think the performance of Alun Jones during the Six Nation certainly didn't come across as someone that was geriatric or worthy of that sort of examination. I don't know if you think that way, Bryn, but seriously harsh on the big fella.
Oh, yeah, I was reading those comments and I was just like, are they seeing something that we're not seeing, Jip? Because, look, it's going to add fuel to fire, isn't it? I think it just adds a little bit more to that series. But I think if you're sitting in that South African camp, you're probably a little bit distraught about hearing that because it's just going to add fuel to fire for those Lions boys. But no, he's definitely not a plotter, that's for sure. You don't get 100+ tests being a plotter.
No appreciation for the engine room. There's never appreciation for the big fellas in the engine room that clean all the rucks, do the tough carries, win the line-out ball, put the head in in between props and hookers' backsides. Oh, Alun Jones, mate, you're a legend.
What it has done, it's going to send exactly messages around the world where we're going to be talking about it. So he's done his clickbait, he's done pretty well, hasn't he?
He has done well because, one, we are talking about it, and two, it's exciting for building into the series, but also I think it probably hypes up the atmosphere in their camp. You can really build on this in terms of motivation as players and the leadership group and saying, we're going into their backyard, this is what they think of us, no one backs us, backs against the wall mentality, and there's actually nothing more powerful than that as an individual, but as a group and galvanising you together when you're away from home. So I don't know if they should be chucking out too many more articles like that because it is quite helpful when you're on tour.
Yeah. The other Lions are hobbits. Like, if you can call Maro Itoje a hobbit, that's a very big hobbit.
Oh, no, I think they're off the mark, but
it's good fun.
Well, we all know that. What was it? I think Warren came out with the
red nose.
The red nose last time. Well, I think imagine if a few players dressed up as hobbits, if they win it 3-0 or 2-1 at a press conference, that would be quite entertaining.
Yeah, what we do know about Warren Gatland is he can hold a grudge. Like, if he remembers things that people say, and he'll make you pay.
Oh well, so he should.
Yeah,
so he should. I reckon Alun Jones should just come in with a Zimmer frame if they do it If they would do it 3-0, he should just do something like with a walking stick or something. It'd be fun. I don't know. I think it would be quite hard to win 3-0, but it would be funny to keep in your back pocket.
Now, there's also this week, Rassie found his little bit of motivation as well. RugbyPass wrote an article basically saying, yeah, you guys are world champions, but you haven't played in a year or so, and we're not going to consider you the best in the world. We'll consider you the World Cup champions. It got tweeted out, and in reply, Rassie Erasmus says, Lions do not concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. And I was like, wow.
So both camps are utilising the media to fire themselves up. Well, I'm surprised he replied, and that he's scrolling through Twitter, but he certainly knows how to motivate a squad, and I'm sure he might not be concerned with that opinion because, as he says, that Lions don't concern himself with opinions of sheep.
But they read them.
But he certainly reads them. But I'm sure that will be, as I said before, posted up in changing rooms to motivate. And again, it's dangerous because it does flick a switch. And I think South Africa are in a win-win. And because there is no expectation of them just because they haven't played international rugby for so long, and I've said it before, that if they do well, everyone's like, oh, they are the world's best, and you're only as good as your last game, and then they come out and they do well. That's like, how good are they? And if they don't do so well, then it's like, well, how could they do so well? They haven't played together. That they're coming off the back of no preparation, rah rah rah. So they're in a pretty good spot, if you can look at it that way. It's not an ideal spot, but they're in a good spot in terms of how they can come out of the series, and they've got nothing to lose. And when you've got nothing to lose, you can almost chance your arm a little bit, which will be exciting to see how they approach it from a tactical point of view. And we know Rassie is a genius of bringing groups together and using certain things to motivate. And he certainly is a lion in terms of his preparation and his mindset. And the irony is he uses a lion when he's playing the Lions, but he'll certainly have I suppose a tactic to utilise that and other things throughout to motivate his group.
It's a big year for Rassie this year, Bryn. He's got this tour, then there's the Rugby Championship, which they haven't competed in for a long time. The Boks this year have got a chance to really consolidate previous efforts.
Yeah, they do. And, you look at the Alun series, it's a special thing to be a part of. You don't, it's every 12 years. So you have talked around the preparation side of it, around, they haven't played a lot of rugby, but, you've got to give them the credit when it's due. They are world champions, and the last time they did play, they won a World Cup final. So, and being at home, they'll want to impress. We've talked about it a little bit around the crowd. They won't have that against the Lions, but they're a proud country, and they'll be that excited. You talk around the All Blacks when they want to put on the All Blacks jersey. They love putting it on, and the South Africans haven't had an opportunity to do that. So they'll be roaring to go, and there'll be motivation. That's obviously been fueled by the comments from a few of the media, but. Then they've got the Rugby Championship. Hopefully they do play in that, because we need them in our competition. We know Australia and Argentina are great teams, but having the South Africans is really important for the development of New Zealand rugby and world rugby and Rugby Championship rugby. So really looking forward to seeing how they go against the Lions, and then from them playing and getting experience in that game, they'll be hopefully playing the Rugby Championship where. They'll be want to test themselves against, us, Australia and Argentina as well.
When you compare their preparation to playing Tonga and Fiji, in a lot of ways it puts them in a really good spot.
A great spot. I think, that's the biggest part of the year probably, is the Lions series, and it puts them in a good spot to be prepared for what's to come in that Rugby Championship and end of year tour. It's really starting at the top of the hill, isn't it, and probably coming down. Not that it's coming down, it's probably a slight decline, because the All Blacks and Aussie and RG are tough, and then obviously the Northern Hemisphere tour will be tough as well. But it sets it up after, I suppose, missing a year of footy. There's no better way of having that calendar year to look forward to as a player and to test yourself. They've been sitting there waiting, wanting to get back in that jersey. Well, I don't know. There's no better year to want to make that squad and make every post a winner.
Yeah. And it's going to be a good year for Test footy in general. I think we missed a proper year last year, and like people missed playing the Australian teams, missing seeing the entire year play out the way we used to is going to be big for rugby fans.
Absolutely, and I think that showed in how engaged everyone was in the Six Nations, especially down here in the Southern Hemisphere. I think it was the most engaged I've seen in that competition. Like if you were talking rugby, I felt like when you were at barbecues or things with family and friends, more people were talking about the Six Nations than I'd ever heard before. And I think that showed that, when the international aspect is taken away, there's been a little bit more appreciation for, the world game and what's been going on at that international stage. Because, and to be fair, I think it was the most, the best quality rugby played in the Six Nations this year, and how tight that competition was created a lot of excitement as well.